Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to open the meeting of the Finance Committee. Sitting on behalf of the committee will be myself as chair, Councilor Gould, Councilor McGinn, Councilor Turco, and Councilor Charest on behalf of Councilor Manning Martin. First item on the agenda this evening is a settlement of a legal claim against the City of Peabody with payments to be made from the general fund to the judgment account. I would assume, Mr. Mayor, do you want to speak on this? Or? Attorney Khan.
Evening, everyone. Donald Kahn, Assistant City Solicitor. This is an order that's been put forward to fund a settlement of litigation against the city, which we have previously discussed. If there's any questions that anyone has for me, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I would entertain any questions from members of the esteemed council. Councilor Turco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Attorney Khan. I see the settlement offer on there, but we had discussed additional costs. Are we addressing any additional costs in this vote tonight, or will that come up later, or do we have a final number?
No, this is only funding for the settlement of the claim itself. We did have to retain some experts, as we discussed, and I think that will be the subject matter of probably an additional financial order down the road. But tonight, we're only addressing funding of the settlement.
Thank you.
Other questions from the councilors? I have one. Is this funding of half of the settlement or the full settlement?
This is funding of half of the settlement. What I attempted to do was to lessen the financial impact on the city. We were able to negotiate that the payments made over 2 fiscal years. So this would be the first of 2 payments.
Any further questions on behalf of the council? If there are none, I would accept a motion from Councilor McGinn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move to approve the settlement. Actually, we're moving not to address the settlement agreement. I don't think we're moving for the appropriation, correct?
Yeah, the motion is to
move
funds from the reserve to the legal budget.
Yeah, move to reserve, transfer the funds from the budget reserve, account number 100-1320-57410, in the amount of $125,000 to the FY 2018 legal budget, account number 100-1510-53114, in the amount of $125,000. So moved.
You've heard the motion by Councilor McGinn. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll accept the roll call.
Councilors Turco,
Yes.
Gould, McGinn,
Yes.
Charest,
Yes.
Gravel.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Next up on the agenda is a review of the golf course financing options, which was in the packet. Mr. Gingrich.
Yes, I just completed some alternative funding numbers, and I haven't had a chance to go over those with the mayor at this point, but we will do so.
Councilor Sinowitz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to Mr. Gingrich. What were the parameters you were using on that refinancing and other? Were you talking 10-year note, a 5-year note? What were the terms? Because I had run some numbers myself.
I did a 3-year, 5-year, and a 10-year internal financing.
Okay. You know, when I ran my own numbers, I don't know if the return on what we're getting back over 10 years is worth laying out $1.3 million to make, what was my it's $1.3 million left. Well, the way you did this was you were calculating starting March 15th, 2018. Is that the way you looked at this? Because there was, let me find it. Because in your, it starts on 3/15/2018. Because we still have half a year to go, right? Or
No,
7 months to go until.
this year's over.
No, no, no.
The debt service was paid July 15th
For,
for the whole year.
for the whole year. Oh, okay. But we're still in the same financial position, whether, we don't know whether they're making any money this year or not. We'll have to wait until.
Well, no, actually, we're on budget for revenue from July till now. So we'd have to
Do
wait.
you have those numbers?
I don't have those with me. I can get them for you.
That doesn't help me right now, Mike. You have to come prepared. Look, but if what you're telling me is that if we refinance the 3 years, that there'd be a savings of 100,000 per year? Is that how you?
Wouldn't be a savings,
But no,
it'd be a movement of that to an additional period down the road.
Right. And we're spreading out the debt to ease for them to make their
Budget.
overhead.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So, I don't know if it makes sense to go out just on the numbers, but I don't have the numbers you were doing, but I think the 3 years, probably wouldn't be a bad idea, and it takes the pressure off them to, so if they had a bad year, they'd break even, right? If they lost another 100, we wouldn't be coming to the city council.
And that's clearly an option. I mean, there's no question about it.
Well, I don't know where this goes from here, but I would, I'm not on this committee, but I would recommend that, and I can't, I'd have to have something from the mayor saying, I want to do this. I mean, I guess we could make a recommendation to refinance it to 3 years, but should we be doing that without that other information? So I'm gone in December 14th. So can we get this done on the 14th? We have a meeting on the 7th, right? So can we?
What information are you looking for?
I just want to see, to compare the numbers on those, what did you say, 3, 5, 7, 10, 5, 7,
Okay.
10? And just
Yeah.
look at it, and then hopefully a recommendation to refinance it, take the pressure off of them, and I do hope that by taking the pressure on, that just doesn't mean we do business as usual. I hope there's some changes over there, and one thing is, we're not questioning anybody's character here. We talk about they're good people and blah, 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 blah. No one's questioning their character. It's about the competency of running the golf course. Because otherwise, one of us would thank the captain of the Titanic for hitting an iceberg. So I would just say that, we want the best for the golf course, and I think that with changing times, you have to change your business model. You can't just do the same old, and expect a different result. So, all right, so you'll come back on whenever, December? You'll come back on the 14th with those numbers?
I'll have the numbers for the next meeting.
Okay. All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
Any other questions of Mr. Gingrich? I just have one, if nobody else has a question, and that is currently, the comparison is the bond. So you've got a 5% coupon bond and a 4% coupon bond, each representing an expense as well as bond counsel servicing, right? And so net, we're spending money to get rid of a cash flow issue more than an expense.
That's correct.
So, again, I would just reiterate, I'm not sure why we wouldn't, if we wanted to get rid of the cash flow issue, fund it from the reserve with a internal note and a payback from the golf course, if you want to pay the same rate as the bond would be, you could do that.
I initially, when I started to work up the numbers, I used 1.7%, the same rate, or you could do zero interest, whatever you wanted.
Yeah, well, I would think that worst case scenario, you would do the interest lost on the invested money. Because if you're going to take $1 million and you're not going to earn interest on it, at least, the offset would be the interest that would have been earned. But then it's net neutral, as far as I'm concerned, because the cash is just sitting there anyway. To me, this would be like borrowing money when you don't need to, if you're trying to solve the problem of cash flow. And I get what you're saying. You're trying to solve the problem of cash flow. If you have cash available to solve the problem of cash flow, use your own cash. Don't pay for it to the outside world. Save the interest and pay the interest from the reimbursements from the golf course, the same schedule, back to the city, net no loss, net no gain. We're all even. It's just putting money in one different pocket than the other. That's just my thought.
Okay.
I think it would be a prudent way to handle it if cash flow is truly the issue, so.
Okay.
Anybody else? So I guess this should just be a report of committee, and we'll see you back on either the
meeting.
7th or the
Next
14th.
meeting.
We're getting really, we like having you here.
Thank you.
Just want you to know it's fun. You might as well stay there, though, because I think the next item is yours as well, which is an update on revenue and expenses.
Yeah, I sent a memo out indicating that when I took a look at what we have in year to date, there's really not a lot of change from normal year to year. And it's kind of early to really be able to tell if there's any issues going on with revenues. In addition to that, we've had some turnover in the treasurer's office, and we're just a little bit behind on some of the posting, and also some medical illnesses. So I'll have a lot better handle on that by the end of the year, the end of December, and I could report back with a little bit more information at that point.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Gingrich on revenue and expenses update? I appreciate the fact that you're helping us keep an eye on it. My sense is more information more frequently is as good as any,
Sure.
because it's nice to know if there's going to be any crazy things happening, but right now it looks like we're on target.
Yep.
All right, great. Any further questions? Being none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
We're done.